This is a Jasper, the porter style blend. And I know people immediately say, Bruwer, your Cabernet Franc special, what's porter style blend? But what makes this unique from a Raats perspective is that it is mainly Cabernet Franc, always at least 50% Cabernet Franc. But what makes it even more unique, not just in a South African context, but international context, the second highest component by 32% is Malbec. So there's about a half of the wine, just a bit more, is usually Cabernet Franc, and then about 30% plus is Malbec. And the reason why I did that is that people say the best blending component with Cabernet Franc traditionally has been Merlot. And that comes obviously from the right bank in Bordeaux, where they make in Saint-Emilion, Pomerol, where they make wonderful blends from Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. But in South Africa, on the granite soils, Merlot and Cabernet Franc, to me, becomes very close to each other. And they almost sometimes are too similar. Where Malbec, and if Cabernet Franc has a weakness, it's usually in the mid-palate, that you find that Cabernet Franc can potentially have the entrance and it becomes narrow in the middle and then the finish again. So, and we all know that Malbec is almost opulent in the mid-palate. So in 2008, my dad and I, his name was Jasper, planted Cabernet Franc and Malbec here across from the Eden plot. And for this to one day make a Cabernet Franc Malbec blend. But sadly, my dad passed away before we could release the wine. So in 2012, when we released the wine, I decided to call it after his name, and his name was Jasper. So that is why we call the wine in honor of his quality grape growing and help as a viticulturist for Raats Family Wines. That's where the name comes from. And we also use a little bit of Cab, Petit Verdot, and Merlot in the blend, but we're looking at 3% here, 4%, 5% there. And it's not necessarily that we will use all of them. Sometimes the current 18 doesn't have any Petit Verdot and it's only Cabernet and Merlot. And that's why this will never be polka dry, although 80 or 90% of the wine comes from here. We always want to use that little bit of Cab and Merlot just to give it certain dimensions and fill certain gaps. So that is the story behind Jasper Red Blend.